It's finally coming. After a couple of weeks delay, 2.7 finally has a date. And we've been treated to the trailer and teasers for the story, which included some aspects that are rather surprising. In this video, I'm going to analyze the trailer, highlighting some of the most interesting hidden lore details, and make some predictions about what I believe is going on in the new Archon Questline. So, watch out for on-screen notes, and let's talk about hidden dreams in the depths. But first, I'm currently striving to reach the goal of 150,000 subscribers. So, whether you're new to the channel, or you've watched lots of my videos but haven't subscribed yet, please support what I do by subscribing and help me beat the YouTube algorithm and reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. The trailer begins with Uncle Tian's daughter, Huisin, stating that he is thinking of stepping down from the Tianshu position. We don't really have a great deal of details with regard to what exactly this position makes him responsible for, but it is taken to be of fairly high importance within the Liao Weixixing. In addition to that, it's a position that he has held for a very long time, despite his growing feelings that the title itself has become unwieldy or clumsy, making it seem as if the position has lost some of its original intent. Next, we hear Tian himself talking about Yelan, who was our mysterious savior when we encountered the Ruin Serpent for the first time, and she remained unseen by the Traveler throughout the events of the story in 2.6. Tian's words establish the idea that Yelan is one of strong mental fortitude, and she's been that way since she was a child. He also makes a cheeky reference to her nature as a gambler by saying that she's always kept her cards close to her chest, but this indeed also indicates that she's likely one to keep secrets, and this is consistent with her promotional materials, which states that she is one who claims to be a member of the Ministry of Civil Affairs and takes on many guises to conceal her identity when needed. Next, Yelan herself is heard speaking with regards to putting in a transfer, presumably with the Ministry of Civil Affairs, so that she may travel to the chasm and begin investigations into the supposed truth of events from back then. Although the specific time she's speaking of is not clear, it should be a reference to one of three times. 1. The era of Cataclysm from 500 years ago. 2. The time the chasm itself was sealed. Or 3. The time in which this portion of the nation of Byakuyakuku was exiled here. Of the three, I believe the first or second are the most likely, as they would best tie into the previous story elements. However, I see number 1 being the most likely overall, due to the relevance of the Dark Mud with the era of Cataclysm. Xiao begins to speak next, stating that the space may devour them if they stay for too long. This is stated as we are shown a shot of Xiao overlooking the celestial nail within the chasm. It does, however, seem unlikely that he is directly referencing this location specifically, but could be considered as a more broad warning about the chasm in general, as we have seen some characters become particularly negatively impacted by the darkness which exists there. We are shown a shot from top down of the traveling party, which includes obviously the Traveler and Paimon, but also Kuki, Ito, Yanfei, and Yelan, who appears to have finally come out of the shadows to reveal herself. Interesting, at this point, it seems as if Xiao is absent, which might indicate that he comes in at some point later in the questline. Next is where things really begin to pick up steam, as Yanfei states something has been activated within an object called the Fantastic Compass. What this is, we don't know, but we are shown several shots of an intricate clock-like device and the entrance of a domain. The entrance of this domain, if you watch my most recent Ruins video, should appear clearly to be that of Byakuyakuku or Enkanomian design. This is likely the entrance to the domain we see later, which includes matching floating ruins of ancient Byakuyakuku or Enkanomian design as well. Within these domain shots, the most interesting scene is this one, which includes a sort of wheel carved into the stone flanked by 4 runes, which are similar, if not identical, to those found throughout Liyue Harbor. However, the platform itself is bridged by cube structures, likely calling out again the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles' involvement in whatever happened here. Also, you might have noticed the blue lines which crisscross the scene. If we are to assume that these are related to the image in the floor, which is rather clock-like in appearance, then this could be a visual representation of the threads of fate. Or perhaps more simply, Yelan herself has projected them, as her elemental burst animation has these blue lines present within it. On the topic of clocks, however, the devices shown earlier in the trailer do appear to mimic the rather flashy, gold implements of the Guizhong Ballista. Could this be an early indication that Guizhong was in some way involved in what happened here? And are we finally going to learn more about her? Next, we hear Xiao asking a question, although the audio for it is somewhat distorted, as if it were a damaged recording or an echo of the past.
No, it's still alive. Why would you become like this?
The question itself, and his surprise that whoever this is alive, suggests that this must be one of the other Yaksha from the time during the Archon War. However, Xiao seems to imply that the Yaksha has changed in some way. This seems increasingly more likely since we know that one of the Yaksha was sealed within the depths of the chasm at some point in the past, as it was referenced several times throughout 2.6. Next, we see a couple shots of an unknown woman with green hair and a tea set, which she appears to be standing nearby, as we hear Ito in shock, looking for confirmation that he has accurately identified someone.
No way! Was that who I think it was?
But it seems unlikely that the figure on screen is the same as the one which he is referring to, but instead, I rather expect that he could be referring to our traveler's sibling, as they are shown to once again reveal themselves seemingly at some point within the questline. The scene has the potential to be among some of the most important we've seen from Genshin Impact's story thus far, and I can only begin to imagine what we might learn if the scene can be taken at face value. But during the reveal of the sibling, we hear Xiao state that something is wrong with the domain, as he is heard coughing and telling everybody to leave. This says to me potentially that the entire interaction we're seeing with the sibling could also be a misdirection, a ruse created simply to draw the traveler and Xiao to this location so that the Yaksha, sealed within the chasm, could force a final confrontation with their old friend who has likely spent hundreds of years considering how to exact revenge on Xiao. Finally, we hear the voice of who I believe is this missing Yaksha, speaking not to the traveler, despite the fact that we're seeing them on screen during this time struggling with an unknown effect. The voice states next that he's found someone's weakness and invites them to die alongside him. Among the promotional materials for Genshin Impact version 1.3, we were given the trailer, Yakshas, the Guardian Adepti. This trailer included images of the other Yaksha alongside Xiao, and as we are shown the image of this Yaksha, Zhongli, who provided the voiceover, states that one succumbed to the darkness. Was this always intended to be less of an abstract concept and more of a literal one instead? It would be consistent with the Dark Mud remnants from the time of the Cataclysm that are now found all throughout the chasm. Could 2.7 be the reveal of the foreshadowed return of the four-armed Electro Yaksha? For now, we'll have to wait and see. And that's it for this video. Do you think that we'll actually see our traveler's sibling? Or do you agree with me and think that the sibling's image is just a ruse, used to draw the traveler and Xiao to the Yaksha's domain so that he can finally settle his desire for vengeance? And what do you think of the potential of Guizhong and Zhongli's involvement in all of this? Tell me about it in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you are notified when my next video goes live. And if you want to see more, check out one of these other videos. Thanks for watching Teyvat Historia. May the 7 guide you, travelers.